Coming from the true space, we ain't entertaining neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. What's good, y'all? My name's Open Buck. This is my partner.
Hey guys, this is Hearth. Welcome back to Truspace.
Yep, and welcome back to your weekly horoscope. So let's break down the energies for this week. Looking at Monday, the 26th of December, the moon is making a conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius while squaring Uranus and Taurus too. So how do you think this fixed square is going to hit us all on Monday?
So this is coming from the new moon in Capricorn, which was about you planting seeds, about how can you take more practical actions that deal with your status, business, and learn how to create more restrictions and boundaries within your own emotion, as the moon conjuncted all these different planets. So you're learning how to emotionally take responsibility the way you think of what you love matters, and how can you take more power control issues of your business and status. So as you plant the seeds here, this is going to transfer to the moon in Aquarius, which is going to change things and make it much more communicative and make it more about, instead of just planning and building, this is time for you to go out there, associate, communicate, and also fixate yourself on certain ideas and thoughts, which are going to help you to develop knowledge. If you don't fixate yourself on certain ideas, you will never actually develop any form of knowledge, because you need to hold on to certain ideas, test them out, and go to battle with other people's ideas, and that's gonna allow you to see like where your ideas are. But this is also what make you very abstract, or what could make you abstract, because you're trying to think so far through fixating on one idea. But this and things of that nature. So the moon Aquarius is making you really be emotionally communicative there with your associate. So you can go out there, communicate about your business, your status, and look for people to associate it with. There's a main theme here. And the square for Uranus and Taurus is creating a learning opportunity for you to take all that mental capacity to put it on earth. But to do that, that's the square. This is the learning opportunity. How can you transfer all those restrictions, boundaries that you're doing with your groups, your associate, and your also in your train of thoughts, and how does it affect your physical reality? Uranus in Taurus, the ruler of Aquarius is in Taurus. That's debilitated here, so it's very hard. You're trying to associate and try to apply all these different unique ideas, and sometimes they work, sometimes they do not work. But that's the fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like Uranus, I mean, not Uranus, well, Uranus, but Aquarius coming after Capricorn is a very, forward moving step, or really helps, still Saturnian energy to a degree, where after the new moon, like what you were saying, where you really, choose a role that you want to fulfill, the responsibility that you're going to try and to uphold. You could, if you manifest a lot of the negative energy of that in terms of being too conservative, or you're starting to value things a little bit too surface level, you're getting a little bit too dry and forgetting about your personal side of things. Aquarius can really help you shift from the mindset, like a Capricorn over exalted or going too far would get really conservative, very scarce minded, if you get what I mean. Aquarius is very forward minded, forcing you to think of solutions, to not stay into that state of being. So it's a very forward moving energy coming off of the new moon, to help you use this practicality in a positive way, to move the energy. You don't stay stuck on your responsibilities.
That makes that makes Capricorn sounds very Republican, while it makes Aquarius sounds very progressive or
Exactly.
democratic,
Exactly.
which is crazy.
Exactly. And that's what it really does. People don't realize that this is even how the shadow government uses it to control us, because really we all are want to be in the middle, or we're all a mixture of both, but they utilize both so that they can keep us on the extremes and kind of rock us to sleep in the middle. Once we meet in the middle, it's like, okay, yeah, they push us to extremes, too much Aquarius, too much
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn, so much time. So then when we go in the middle, we're like, ah, yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. But then push us to the extremes again. But we don't realize that that middle point is where we really want to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like we never realize the middle point because they present the argument and always in our position. They never present in a united way.
Exactly.
So it's like so it trains you to think that that's how you're supposed to think. That's not reality.
Absolutely. I noticed that when talking with people or arguing about people when I was going to school, it used to be about like essay writings. Like you come with evidence. You would read the other person's book, break down the points that they had made, and then show them how they're false. Now it's just
Mm-hmm.
my word against your word, my beliefs against your belief, type of
Mm-hmm.
argument. So it's crazy. But that more knowing the information behind is really going to help you progress things forward and to be information based and impartial. At Capricorn, you can be dry and neglect your emotions, but Aquarius can help you navigate your emotions very logically. To not dry up all of the emotions, but to help just utilize them better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, I heard this funny thing. Though it says you like Aquarius, they could disassociate themselves from their own mind, which is something so abstract itself.
It's facts. I believe that the higher levels of
Mm-hmm.
thought, you'll be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of expands beyond thought. It's not thought anymore. Like dead ass. It goes beyond
Holy.
what you think it is. Once you start narrowing your mind and your focus, and you really have that broad view, it changes. It's a different modality.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But that's the as the necessary nature of Aquarius to be fixated. Because for you to develop eventually, that you need to be fixated. It can't be mutable. I'm not trying to be mutable while you're trying to be progressive. It's impossible. I'm not trying to be like just carnal, trying to give birth to things. No, you need to be fixated.
Exactly, a revolution that is mutable, that doesn't work. You're gonna need the same principles, for you to get to the beginning and to the end, or else it'll, anarchy. That's Animal Farm in a nutshell. If you remember that, when it was
Yeah,
playing out the
yeah,
animals, they had rules where it was like, no animals, all animals are equal, and then later on,
yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
pigs had changed it to all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. They just kept on adding shit. No animal shall be murdered, and then they added no animal should be murdered without cause after, and then just keep on toppling after that. But yeah, today's the day to really progress that status, that position, that responsibility that you want to uphold with neutral emotions, more intellectual emotions, more emotional awareness that really helps you move
Mm-hmm.
things forward in a positive way. Blend in your conservative and progressive mind.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna be the key for you to move in like right now on Earth as everything getting destabilized basically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, that's how Monday's looking. Uh, Tuesday, the 27th, we have the moon in Pisces scoring Mars in Gemini. How do you think this alignment's going to hit us off?
So this is gonna be a heavy fogging, and so as your emotion reacting to your emotions and feelings related to your dreams and illusions, so you could experience more of like what your subconscious mind start presenting you, but you expand on that through giving it meaning and reason and like experiencing it. But having the square to Mars in Gemini, which is also about being passionate, aggressive through communication, arguing, analyzing, it's like creating a collision of by which we're trying to like almost bring words to like what we see like kind of subconsciously and try our best to do that, but both of them are like immutable signs, so like there's not like some form of results that come out of it, but it's just the aspect of us trying to go about communicate and trying to let people know about what's happening and really try to give birth to things that we see subconsciously. but Mars in Gemini makes it very hard. Having the sextile to Sun in the Capricorn is almost as your awareness, your creativity is focused on being committed on building your business and status. That's obviously creating the base for you emotionally to harness all these dreams, illusions. But you gotta navigate that Mars in Gemini square because it makes it very hard because you're gonna hear ideas, arguments, people analyzing and things of that nature. But that's gonna might go and create difficulties for your dreams and illusions and what you really want to do emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Yeah, and how you want to feel. Yeah, for sure. It's highly influenced by everybody else's emotions right now. With the moon being in Pisces, and you're so right with the square with Gemini. But I feel it helps, and to a certain degree, having those feelings that you can't put words to, but situations like this square really forcing you to put certain words to certain things, and you say something, maybe based off of a certain desire, and a whole different thing comes out, and you're like, where did that even come from? That's probably the moon in Pisces, making you more sensitive to the influences that are around you. That's, making these subconscious things come out to the surface. And then the square of Mars is challenging you by making them come out in conversation. And then you go and explain something that maybe you believed, or that's a feeling that was so hard. But when you try to bring it to words, it sounds flunked out, it sounds stupid. And it's like, yo, what the, what had happened? But that gives you the opportunity. That's the square. But that gives you the opportunity to go back and be like, whoa, where did this mess up happen? Where did this confusion go on, where this belief got distorted? But when I said it out loud within this train of thought, it didn't work, So you have to go and find, where those discrepancies are. Whenever the moon is in a water sign, I feel like it's like a clean up time, or like a time for reflection, and where a heightened sensitivity just makes it easier for you to reflect and really tap into the subtler information that influences our daily decisions, for sure. And then you're talking about the sextile with the sun in Capricorn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a trine with the moon in Pisces, with the south node in Scorpio and Lilith in Cancer. How do you think that water trine
Mm-hmm.
hits on Tuesday?
Bro, that's very refreshing considering the fact that we experience all this stellium in
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn, which makes things all about business, status, working hard, upholding responsibility. So having the moon in Pisces, this is almost like, but through the lens of the sun in Capricorn, it's almost allowing our business status to be driven from like the roots of our subconscious mind of what we really want to do. And having obviously the trine to the South Node in Scorpio and Lilith in Cancer is creating the opportunity for us to detoxify out of certain emotional vulnerabilities that's preventing us to move further in our business and status. And Lilith in Cancer is allowing us to get more aware of what type of like dark emotions is at home that is required for us to nurture, take care of, and experience more, and things of that nature. And this is like I'm trying to say earlier, it's very refreshing coming from all this energy in Capricorn and Aquarius.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's kind of what cleaning up does a lot of the time. Maybe there's a dirty corner that you've been neglecting for a long time, that you don't want to go in because it's nasty, or you don't want to deal with those types of things, but you feel so much better and cleaner afterwards. That's how it goes a lot of times with these water signs, especially with the moon in Pisces. You can really, with this heightened sensitivity, you can really run away from certain problems, or you can really confront them with the added sensitivity that these water signs. And it'll be so easy to escape. Come up with some type of imagination, some type of illusion, to take away from the sensitivity, or to dull your feeling somehow, through whatever means that people will dull their emotions. So I applaud you to not do that. Just like what Harith is saying, coming off of Capricorn, we're in really need of that emotional nourishment if we're going to really obtain that position and status that we're hoping for. We're gonna need to add water. Capricorn is cardinal Earth. You
Definitely.
know what I mean? So it's like that's like literally the seed, the instance. I like calling Capricorn the blueprint. And if the, there's no water, it's never gonna take place. You won't care about it enough. You won't care about it enough, so it's not gonna grow.
That's true. Facts, yeah.
So really use this sensitivity on Tuesday. And discomfort is going to be your friend. That's what it's going to show itself as, especially with that square going on. It's the things that make you uncomfortable are that's really your keys and signs of what you don't want to expand, what you're holding on to a little too much, what your sensitivity is trying to show you. Spirit speaks to us so subtly a lot of the times, but discomfort is one of the major things that we neglect, especially with the moon in Pisces. You'll be keen to this information, so really listen to it. You'll benefit from it.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how Tuesday's looking. Looking at Wednesday, the 28th, how do you think the moon conjuncting Neptune in Pisces is going to hit us all?
So this is, as we were saying earlier, is diving deeper into your dreams and illusion, and as you can, as your emotion conjunct Neptune is obviously boosting your and hiding your sensitivity to your feelings, emotion, dreams, and illusions. Like we said earlier, but having this sextile to Venus and Mercury and Pluto is allowing you to see the opportunity on how you could utilize all these thoughts and ideas. Your love matters, and all this about control issues, energy that you've been building for a while, so you could take control of your business status and initiate a house you could live inside of. But it's gonna be highly influenced by where your emotional status is, because it's gonna your emotions allow to put you in a place to build on what you truly want, or it might put you in a state to build on something you might regret later on. Since Capricorn season is all about commitment, and then you're having the moon in Pisces, you're receiving dreams and illusion. You might be influenced by other people's dreams and illusion, so you might start committing into building someone other world. Basically, I could see how this is a perfect time for the shadow government to apply certain ideas and let people to build on it for them, but also this time for you to do that yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. A good example is small businesses, and look at how COVID kind of wiped people out, just as a wake up call. Yeah, for sure. And especially if you've been running things in a conventional way, people that didn't have the room to innovate, people who have followed the other blueprints for us for certain businesses, the tried and true things, from the past, kind of get blown out because now the rules had changed. Were following someone else's rules and structures, and now things went up strange, and now they don't have enough foundational support for them to hold themselves up. But if when you start things on your own and you have control over things and it was your own design, like you have way more flexibility to move with certain things. So it's like what Harriet is saying. Um, you can really attach a lot of emotions to certain structures that you build, or really put your creativity towards something and your belief towards something and really cause something to manifest. But um, without that proper Capricorn and disciplinary energy, just even the evaluation of things to see what's worth it, and how to go about things, to have the executive business decision to know whether what's a good investment and what's not a good investment. And that stems from having experience to a large degree. But just like what Harriet was saying, if you start building structures based off of other people's influences and other people's structures, you'll find out that you are quickly going to be the one that is shortchanged first. That you're the one who has no room to adjust, or there's not as much flexibility because you're following someone else's dream and blueprint. So you really have to take control of your subconscious mind and your beliefs, even if you are going to be a part of society, or a part of a pre-made structure to a certain degree. How you're placing your belief and your emotions into it is of utmost importance, because that's what you're going to develop and manifest. Otherwise, you're just helping someone else while they diminish you. Now you're allowing it to be a parasitic relationship. Whereas, you can use your captor, your prison warden, or what's ever holding you in to be your greatest teacher, to be your greatest ally. I heard a guy who said your job is your first investor, your first business partner, because it gives you the capability to
Mm.
go and do whatever you want to do afterwards. Teaches you structure, or the fact that you want to work for yourself or whatever it is. But yeah, I was saying how like things are so serious,
Mm.
and we're really shifting our values to the roles and positions that we play
Mm.
in the world at large. More people, even the liberal minded, share everything. Utopian type people, especially now, Capricorn season, is starting to see the conservatism. And that's funny. A lot of liberal type, progressive type minded people don't realize that they're conservative within their ideals. That they're not the complete progressive, the complete open and non-discriminatory thing that um, they really are. But you can't be, and that's why you can't suppress that conservative side. But we're all starting to come into a little bit more awareness of that. Of that better business sense of how to manage our own responsibilities. So when we go into La La Land, or get the pull for La La Land when the moon in Pisces and all of these Neptunes, you know, it gets put in check, and there's more of a plot, more of an opportunity. Capricorn's like, why don't you stop doing all this dreamy other type shit, and why don't you make this useful for a change? Why don't you go and use that imagination and go graphic design my logo? Why don't you use this imagination and go and help to the structure to a degree?
Mm.
And you may be reluctant to follow within that structure, but it's like a prompt, following like a creative prompt where it's giving you a hint, and maybe you want it to be, you want your art to be more a reflection of you, but a prompt just sparks creativity. And this is how you can use responsibility, business, and your status in life to help influence or draw from your imagination, Pisces.
I feel like a great representation of this energy, like is Kanye West, like his relationship with all those different companies who are right now. I think they're getting the right to use his design, but put their name and logo and things like that. But even though
Yeah.
they're gonna do that, they might make money, may not make money. But you look at the comments and what people say. You seeing how people are saying that they're not gonna buy it, and even if they put it out, it's still fake because it does not have what Yeezy name on it. This is where you're gonna see how someone subconscious influence could like beat the structure, or can someone the structure ability beat someone subconscious influence. Like I think Kanye West is a great representation of that.
Mm-hmm. I get what you mean. Whereas of when they worked together, it was one of the biggest sellers. It would have been sold out. There wouldn't have been that controversy whatsoever. Absolutely. So yeah, that's how Wednesday is looking. Very highly intuitive day where things are going to be serious, but it can, if you allow it, if you surrender to it, there can be some real guidance. Really
Mm,
real sub guidance in terms of where you should be directing your emotion to create, and how you can involve your emotions and creativity into making a situation more practical.
exactly. Yeah, definitely. Wednesday, you probably learn about like commitment to like your dreams and illusion, especially all these sextile to Venus, Mercury, and Pluto.
I think so too, for sure. Looking at Thursday now, the moon in conjuncting Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. How do you think that's gonna hit?
Oh, so that's big. So as you exit out of your dreams and your illusion, you're gonna be emotionally reacting to initiating your own visions, your imagination, but your emotions are gonna conjunct Jupiter, forcing you to expand the way you emotionally initiate these feelings and expand your own like emotional awareness about yourself with Jupiter here, really. Especially coming from Pisces, where you really learn how your subconscious mind works, and now you're trying to see how can you actually use that in a way that you could give birth to something in terms of yourself and things like that. But as you're emotionally trying to initiate and fight for these visions and imagination, you're gonna conjunct Jupiter and Chiron too. Chiron is gonna give you the necessary learning mistakes that you need to go through, so you know how to express yourself properly or see yourself image correctly. So you could move further with the heavy square to Sun in Capricorn, because the Sun in Capricorn is forcing you to really be selective and pay attention to how you're gonna take initiative of your business, your status, and be committed and take responsibility. And the square is really forcing you to learn how to harness all that emotional fire and filter it into something of a practical status or business, instead of letting that square make it a collision where your own self-development is preventing you from moving further when it comes to developing your own structure and business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it looks like the moon being in Aries, is helping Chiron heal, taking the wisdom that Chiron has from receiving the wound and trying to heal that aspect of itself, and, kind of magnifying that healing energy to individual identity and individual drive, and reconnecting with, having your self motor starting and running, so that you can go and do these things, so that you can follow your desires, and you don't have to worry of whether you're going to make a mistake in business, and all of these things, so that you can get over that square, get over the square of individuality and wanting to be free and wanting to start things, but balancing it with the responsibilities that you already have, and disciplining the skills that is going to help facilitate you. And then, like what I was saying with discomfort before, I feel like wherever the moon goes, it's going to be that echo, and try and let you know what's making you uncomfortable in whatever area that it's in, so that you can help strengthen it.
Isn't it funny how the moon is also your lymph and your immune system? But like when you notice certain mucus building up in your body, it basically portrays the same. I was like Cece was saying about. Imagine having mucus in your throat. This is like this is where things is going wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not, you don't blame the discomfort, or you don't blame the mucus.
Mm,
That's a natural immune response. You blame what made that discomfort, what set the stage for that discomfort to happen in the first place, aka
mm,
whatever you're doing with your throat.
mm,
Whatever you're doing that messed up that area, or that caused that response to that buildup. But it's
mm,
the same thing. So you can really start to see what discomforts you have in expanding yourself, and having more faith on yourself. What's holding you back emotionally from going on that solo mission, from going on that journey inwards to understand your own personal desires and who you are as an individual. What's making you uncomfortable doing that, and trying to heal and add a little bit more emotional understanding, a little bit more fire to your personality, so you can jump off onto those learning experiences, knowing, and then taking on the challenge of Sun and Capricorn, your position in life. Yeah, you may not know exactly Jupiter's in Aries. We're learning about who we are, and we're expanding that our personal power and stuff like that. But you
mm,
have to go up against the boss. You know what I mean? It's like a One Piece fight. Like or when they go and fight the villain, they always go to the arc or go to the place, and Luffy fights the villain, and then
mm,
maybe loses, and then they
mm,
go. Then everybody separates or something like that. And then he beats a bunch of little people up, and then he beats the big guy again, type of
mm,
deal, where you
mm,
have to go through that confrontation to know what level things are at. You have to go and jump into the career. And people are saying, "Oh, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna take five years or whatever." You have to jump into it. How are you gonna learn? Have the wisdom and knowledge to manage a balance? You have to go and attack these situations, even though you don't know, you're not too sure, you're not too confident in all of your actions. That's how you develop confidence. So that's what I see, how I see that square really playing out.
mm, mm.
What about the sextile to Mars and Gemini with the moon
So
in Aries?
this is gonna allow you to see the opportunity on which you could take all this energy you're feeling with your emotion to initiate these visions, imagination about yourself, and fighting for what you want to give birth to, and like try to learn how to communicate about them and argue about them, especially here with Mars being retrograde. Since Mars being retrograde for a while, here making us really develop knowledge on like thoughts and ideas and ways of analyzing and handling these arguments and things of that nature. The moon conjuncting Jupiter, Aquarius, and Aries here, sextile and Mars in Gemini, could be highly sensitive to the self as you're trying to present certain ideas and hear certain ideas too. So you gotta be careful here. But this is like a great time to really expand yourself through communication, but also expand yourself through letting people communicate and letting people argue, but like knowing how to like control your own like sense of self, so you don't get like a spark to fight.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're also having that Mercury in Capricorn retrograde hitting us on Thursday. How do you think that's gonna go down?
So this is gonna give us time to rethink, reanalyze all these thoughts and ideas we wanted to uh, obviously utilize to give birth to this business status and really be committed of something. But like we need like our mind, our smaller, our logical mind first to know what to do about it. So this retrograde is gonna be us analyzing all those previous steps that we want to move forward with in terms of business and things of that nature. I think it's gonna retrograde all the way back to Sagittarius, but I'm not too sure. But if it does, that's gonna add just us looking more over around these experiences, these spiritual knowledges that we were trying to develop, so we could develop better business and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. That whole day seems like it's you know, like a challenge for you to choose you over, like it's choosing you and your personal interests and your personal desires up against your responsibilities and the roles and positions that you play in the world. And the best way you can, and it's a learning experience of how you can still uphold these responsibilities and your positions, but you do it your way, and you include yourself in it. And this is how you magnify the energy of these situations where you don't mind lifting the weight that you are lifting because you're doing it your way. That's how you can kind of reconcile that energy
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And that's how Thursday's looking. Friday, we have the moon in Aries squaring Mercury and Venus in Capricorn. Mercury going retrograde, which we kind of we're hitting on with the energy of Thursday of that Aries Capricorn, dynamic.
That
But yeah, how do you think that'll hit?
It's definitely to allow what you've been thinking about and like what you're trying to love, appreciate, indulge in terms of business, status, practicality, to guide obviously all this emotion dealing with your individuality and how you could express your own self-image. So you're gonna go through a necessary learning opportunity to know how to communicate about it, but also appreciate and love all this emotion you're putting into yourself or this thing you're trying to give birth to.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I feel like maybe Thursdays where you really have to make a personal decision to do things differently, to do things your way, or to attack and really reclaim your energy. And Fridays, like where the challenge of the mundane things, where it's your relationships and the conversations and your surroundings are now trying to attack you on a more smaller personal level, trying to take you off your mission, trying to make you change the way that you're doing things, trying to make you fulfill a specific structure and role but in a different way, but more on a personal level. And you're gonna supposed to find a way to balance that. Where now it's your relationships personally that are trying to make you uphold a certain thing, and not just your position in the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, that's how Friday's looking. The 31st, New Year's Eve. That's crazy. The moon being in Aries on New Year's Eve, and having that square, preparing for the new year, the newness, and this that has resolution energy on it too, in terms of how
Mm-hmm.
you're going to personally react with people, and what you're going to say things, committing to being serious or to being you. So it's funny how that's when people do their resolutions. And I'm gonna do me, focus on me, reaffirming their own individuality, and and how they're gonna attack the world.
Uh,
So it's right online, surprisingly, that state of being that we're already gonna be in, but really utilizing it now.
But is it crazy that it's a square between Aries and then Capricorn, but that's December 31, and then they're ending the year at Capricorn, but we know they're supposed to end the new year is supposed to start at the beginning of spring, Aries, so, and that is a square, so like that's kind of so funny, yo, the way it lines up.
I know, and how this square, this structure messes up our individuality, or we're not synced up because it doesn't line up with spring and stuff like that. So that's for sure, and that's an example of how it plays out in your life, where these guys are trying to get you to, celebrate the New Year's and all of that, when that doesn't line up with everything in your life that makes sense, aka the seasons and stuff like that. But that's playing out in our lives too.
Like the only reason you would end the year at winter, because it sounds like to me you died at that point.
Mm-hmm. But that's how Friday's looking. Saturday, we have the moon going into Taurus now. How do you think that's going to hit that trine, moon Taurus with the sun?
So this is gonna be nice. So we're gonna be emotionally grounding and stabilizing everything that we initiate in Aries. And everything that we initiated, Aries obviously came from my dreams and illusion. But everything that came from my dreams and illusions was dealing with our associate. And our associate obviously dealt with our business and said that we want to initiate. So the moon in Taurus right now is in like grounding down that business plan that we've been developing so far, starting with the new moon in Capricorn, and actually give it more security, a sense of security and safety. And it's not just a blueprint anymore. It's actually we have all the pieces together. I know what to do. You feel the moon is exalted here, so you're emotionally heavily connected to what you want to do practically and what you want to exalt and connect to physically. So definitely this is like a good energy to really see how far you took it with Capricorn right now.
Yeah, for sure. And this is why it was important for you to really take in the water energy before and really reflect, because now Taurus energy is gonna need that a little bit more stability, emotional involvement, or emotional clarity, so that it can really ground your emotions, can really ground its roots come the moon in Taurus, and you really buckle down and double down on that practicality, and you go and claim that stability, where you go and refine your talents, you go and refine the process of including your emotions into things while you're taking actions on your achievements, your higher desires. You can really solidify and bring out the business person of you, bring out the professional out of you, the refined professional who's, has a routine and purpose, who is dependable, who is going to deliver on the product, who is going to deliver on the value. This is the energy we can really tune into that, and it's on Saturn day too. Where we're getting serious. You can really double down on that energy and become someone who provides, not someone who sees opportunity, and someone who can capitalize on the opportunity as well. Saturday is a day really to get the bag. January 1st too. It is crazy. It's crazy, but this is the energy that they're in. That they get us in. Get the bag. That's Christmas. That's all of the those mentalities, and this is why all this happens in Capricorn. But we have to start utilizing these things for ourselves and not for other people. We have to start understanding what the real getting the bag is. I was talking about that with Millie the other day, because just like what I was talking about before, like how COVID came, and now you can run your businesses the same. The people who survived are the people who made genuine connections with people. So a lot of business people, a lot of up and comers think of, just getting money out of a person, thinking out of money, and that doesn't do it. And this is Taurus at its highest octave. It's not about money, or that's not the highest resource. Venus, representing money and resources, is not the highest resource. It's relationships, it's connections. That is the highest resource. Because when those businesses fell, when your customers have a relationship with you, they don't go to other people and make it easy. They're connected with you. They're heavily invested. There's an emotional connection, and they got you. Oh, you don't have enough of these? Hey, over here at this shop, we have these, and then they provide you, and then you're able to remain stable. If you were to fall into what was that Jay-Z's line? If everybody in your clique is richer, then your clique is rugged. Nobody will fall because everybody will be each other's crutches.
Yeah.
That's real shit.
Yeah.
That's real shit.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're trying to build, and and what real value is. So trying to expand beyond the money, trying to expand beyond um, the the material things, and realize it was the relationships that manifested those things, and anchor your value in those areas. Uranus is in Taurus right now too, so I'm telling you, relationships. We're seeing the value of relationships right now. No word of a lie.
I was watching this video where this person was speaking about money just facilitate what we really want, which is actually meeting people, and meeting people is actually worth more money.
It's funny. My girlfriend was like, how I don't. She was like, I don't understand money. She's like, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, like you're right. She's like, how do you make money out of nothing? And she was like, didn't understand all of these concepts that you were getting at.
Oh.
And she was like, money doesn't make sense unless it's tied with, work. And then I'm like, yo, I literally, that was in Hitler's book. That was Hitler's policy on economics. I'm like, you're starting to sound like Hitler. But he was like, money doesn't exist if it's not tied to a service or to a person, because he's dealing with all these interest people and stuff like that. But it's true. Once you understand money and Venus, once you understand the correlation, now it starts to make more sense that it has to be tied to a person or work or output, or else it doesn't have any value. And this is where the value comes in the first place. So we keep on thinking the money, the cash. It's only because it's going to make someone else do something. The only value is in another human being and the energy output of another person. That is the only value that exists in the entire fucking world. Another living being. So until we start to understand that, we'll never have a proper economy or understand things on a higher level within our lives or in society. But yeah, that's how Saturday is looking. On Sunday, all right, yeah. So looking at Sunday, the 2nd of January, the moon is conjuncting the North Node and Uranus in Taurus. How do you think adding Uranus to the mix is going to start influencing things?
So as we're emotionally trying to seek more fixation on our sense of safety and security, the conjunction to Uranus is gonna obviously shake us more and awaken us to the fact that we need that uniqueness, originality, is what happening within the third dimension. Because you're obviously Taurus, is your physical senses, and I'm pretty sure for you to be unique and original, you need to be able to move your body a certain way and do things along these natures and things along, and even to the point that someone tell you that if you want to be able to create a connection between your mind and your body, you gotta put your mind in a certain place and then you do the action with your physical body to confirm it. If you just think certain ideas and thoughts and feelings and never do nothing about them, it's like you'll never make that connection.
That's why people don't understand shit like asans or mudras, or like what Muslims do,
yoga, and like what Andrew Tate is always sitting like this
that they do, and everything, for sure correlates with the mentalities that they're trying to solidify.
Like Andrew Tate's always sitting like this,
and
like and look at his mentality. He's like do
he's
like a spaceship, non-stoppable. This guy is somewhere in the galaxy. Like you can't keep up with him. There's no way.
Absolutely.
But either way, we're having this trine with Sun in Capricorn as we're taking more action on our business, being more committed, being more ruthless. I think having the moon in Taurus will add a sense of maybe a beauty and emotion is what we are doing, because it's gonna remind us of like why do we seeking this business plan from a sense of safety and security, and the moon is exalted here, so really putting our emotions and feelings into our values, our sense of stability, and that's gonna guide what we're gonna do in terms of business status and how can we go about these things. And that's a powerful combo. You can't just initiate a business based on like no certain values. Like if you look at every country, anything that be initiated, if it never have any sense of value, like imagine democracy or like what the United States done with in terms of trying to be progressive without having a sense of values, would make them look flunked out and things of that nature. Like you can't be progressive without having a sense of value that keeps you grounded. You literally turn your society into like the opposite of what you started with.
Absolutely. Look at gang culture is a perfect example. Look how they deal with things. They would attack certain community. Look how the gang problem started in the first place with the Bloods and Crips. All of that shit was like neighborhood watch and it was on some good shit, good wholesome protect their community type shit until they started
Dude.
planting drugs and doing all this other type of shit. But you take away the Bloods disciple, isn't that what fucking what's his name? Kanye is supporting Larry Hoover and all of that. But you take away certain
Oh.
leadership and you break up
Mm,
the headship and now all of the little pieces start scattering and now you end up having a bigger problem than what you had before.
oh.
You try and break people from the roots but now you break up their ideals, so now they can take the same collections and ways of operating but start diverging and stuff like that. So any breaking of values like that is going to pull any type of revolution or any movement apart and it won't be able to move anymore.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I get exactly what you mean. No revolution is going to be fulfilled if you if no American Revolution would ever happen if they stopped believing liberty's not that important. Like there's no fight anymore.
You, that's facts. Yeah.
And that's why society is degrading now because people don't have values. They're like, kill the babies, take my money, do whatever, whatever. As long as I have a TV and Netflix and and a warm bed and junk food, I don't really give a fuck about anything
Mm,
anymore. Certain levels of
mm,
comfort.
mm, mm, mm.
But yeah, that's why I love Uranus giving us that shake up. That putting us back in that body, to remember that we're still part of this realm of reality, and we still need stability
Mm,
here. That this is the lack of growth that we experience in all of these other areas. That's why Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, or the age of Aquarius, won't progress until we learn all the other fixed modalities, which is super important. Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo energy.
in terms of biology, that is facts because we know about the hormonal system, we know about the heart, the circulatory, we know about what to do in terms of detoxification. But like if you study the Aquarius, it represents the meridian system. They call it like the chakras where the energy flow. Like in the West, they don't believe in that, but in the East, you learn about these concepts, like in China and things
The
like that.
prana
So I find it
tubes.
funny. Exactly, I find it funny how that actually lines up with terms of biology too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like the missing the missing piece. And Catholic Church gets that. That's where you get the cross and all of these different type of things. They understand for you to master certain energies, or when we're in certain ages like that, you need that the cross energy where you can't have Leo without Aquarius, and if you don't have Scorpio and Taurus, then there's not much balance you're gonna get out of Libra. So everything's really dependent on other things. So this activity we're having in Taurus, the shaking up of, is letting us know really where we should be placing our energies. Yeah, reminding us about all of those other systems that go on within the body that are of importance. Instead of just trying to initiate things, instead of trying to always change things,
Mm-hmm.
what do we already have that we need to be sustaining?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And then yeah, Neptune and Pisces is making a sextile with the moon and the South Node in Scorpio, kind of adding more onto that energy that we were talking about.
So basically, if you want to move further in terms of adding uniqueness and originality to your five senses and what you're gonna do for safety and security, you need to detoxify your emotional body out of all vulnerabilities and things like that, aka Scorpio. So you could dive deeper in terms of values, or actually emotionally transfer enough in Scorpio, so you figure out your true sense of values, and that actually would translate into your physical values. Actually, knowing what you truly value, not valuing candy, like random things, but actually knowing what you value. Because what you get, which is kind of funny, the earth element, in terms of out of all the element, they confuse you the most because it makes everything about practicality and what making things about usefulness or not. But when you realize how the elements work, they start with like fire and water, and that just starts
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of just having fun, entertainment, and just living in the moment. Like fire sign and water sign, they live in the moment. Earth sign and air sign, they don't live in the moment, and things
At
related to
all.
that. But
Yeah.
exactly, this is why it's a funny how in medieval time they used to call earth sign, they would add the term like depression to them, but like depressions comes from this fact that your energy is so like deeply rested, to the point that you seem like dead.
I get that
W-
stagnant, and slower moving. But I
mm-hmm.
would see earth signs. A lot of them talk about the past, and that makes sense. What's tried and true, they get stuck in the past. Air
Dude.
signs,
Yeah.
anxiety for the future. They're scared of tomorrow. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do see that. Whereas fire signs and water signs, yeah, they would embrace the moment a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So as you're having the south node opposition to the what's happening in Taurus, you realize that the more transformation you do there, the more you could do here. And the sextile to the Neptune and Pisces is creating, allowing you to see the opportunity and how you could like manifest your dreams and illusion based on emotionally really investing on your sense of safety and security, and creating the actually the physical cup in terms of values that could hold like whatever the fuck you're dreaming about, or like whatever
Mm-hmm.
having la la land about.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
you can't dream and not like value it. Like that's the reason like you never actually brought it into existence. Like I just imagine how many imaginations we have. We never value them. And how the fuck you supposed to bring it?
Exactly. Like that's like taking that's the progression from a Capricorn too. With the when the moon and Neptune was making alignments with the sun in Capricorn, or that energy, it's like you're drawing up the plan, and it's like you're getting the appraisal, like you're drawing the blueprint. But just like what you said, Taurus now is asking you to really do it. Is telling you to add the value, to
Mm,
add the time, to add the energy for it to actually take shape and form, for it to have value. Whereas before we can
exactly.
stay in the mindset of, oh, I could do this or I want to do that, but we have to step into that experience of actually doing it, for sure.
I feel like that's also what create the separation in terms of between the bosses, the CEOs, and the workers, where the CEOs they forget the reality of like what Taurus is doing and how hard Taurus is actually working.
Absolutely. And then they start to mismanage the value that they have. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I see a lot of people with that Capricorn energy using it negatively start to devalue they don't look at their workforce as an asset, which is which is dumb and retarded. Now you have to go and hire new people, and there's going to be more mistakes being done because you don't have experienced personnel, and then you end up spending more money with using your cheap mindset. But once you start valuing people and treating them as assets, they start to
Mm-hmm.
show their value. Once you hold a space for people to fulfill certain things, now they have it. A lot of times people write off even your family members. You expect your grandma to be negative, you expect your mom to be negative, or you expect all these people to be negative, but you never hold space for them, for something new to happen. You really have to hold
Mm-hmm.
space for something new to happen, that maybe they will respond different, maybe they'll react more lovingly, more understanding, and you have to hold space for that if it's ever going to happen. But a lot of times we don't hold space for the positive things to happen because we're so stuck and
Mm-hmm.
trained on the negatives.
That's 100% true. 100% true.
That's facts. But yeah, that's how the week is looking, guys. Um, Man, Capricorn season is so serious. It's so serious.
Mm-hmm.
We really have to get our shit together. Really start disciplining ourselves, aligning everything with our disciplinary path. All of our different modalities. And really starting to solidify our positions in this world.
Mm-hmm. I know that the year did not end yet. There's more work to do till the year actually end. Their year ended, but don't end your years with them.
Exactly, exactly. This is the beginning of winter. This is the beginning of that dead season. The beginning of us reformulating of how we want our spring to go. So that's the energy we all need to be in.
Exactly, and that will prepare you when you go to spring season.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Check out our website, truspace.biz, our Instagram, truspace underscore, and give us a like and subscribe. Give us a comment, talk to us, hit us up, all of that. We would very much appreciate it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
catch you guys later.
Take care.